we're gonna call to order the Town of Fontana Dam Town Council meeting for the month of August. August 18th, we're gonna call to order at 5:43. Present, John Hodgson, Celery Brothers, Rob Hardy, and Tiffany Duke. Jordan is not able to make it today. Let's see, approval of the agenda. So we got utility reports, Dave, audit, club, clerk's garbage truck, approval of Parks Academy, and we will need a closed session today. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, additions?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as read.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, July minutes. I took a look at it when I was on the email. Didn't see anything that jumped out at me. Anybody else have any comments, questions, concerns, additions, subtractions? Otherwise, entertain motions.
I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Tiffany, for making that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public. We've got Charlie from the paper here. Charlie, do you have anything you would like to say during the meeting here?
No, new edition went out this afternoon, so, but other than that, nothing.
Right on? Okay, thanks, Charlie. All right, well, we're going to jump on down into the utility reports, the water plant demolition update. Zell and I met with Jason a bit before the meeting here. We were just trying to get on the same page with him on a few things that had occurred in the past, and we weren't quite sure what was going on. So I guess the first thing was a few weeks ago with regard to what seemed to be an overpressure situation. You remember that, John? Where we had a few breakage, like leaks.
Wastewater? Or?
Water.
Okay.
We had an issue that seemed to, it appeared that, we had a number of breaks, all on the same day pretty much, wasn't it? So,
within a couple of days of
within
each
a couple
other.
of days. So we had, there was a number of them at the marina. Brandon said he was in his place and he had a fitting just blow out. So, indicated some kind of an overpressure. We were concerned that perhaps maybe an experiment had been undertaken, but we're not 100% sure what happened there. We talked to Jason.
By a part of employees?
We're not quite sure what happened there, but Jason said he didn't contribute to it. So anyway, we're not quite sure what happened there. I just wanted to kind of find out, number one, if something could have happened that we weren't aware of, and number two, if that particular action wasn't done, what are the possibilities? We discussed a couple of possibilities that it could have been a water hammer type situation, like one break could have happened, caused the water hammer to sort of propagate through the system. It's not exactly a common thing, but it is possible to happen. So, in the absence of any real documentation of what happens, I think, it's just not exactly, it's clear as mud, I suppose you could say.
It seems like when I talked to Jeff that he did tell me that pressure reducer valve that he was talking about,
Yeah.
was not broken.
So the PRV was not
Intact.
broken in his estimation. I think
There
that
was like where he pulled that or dug up at that, there was like a little hole right in the pipe next to the fitting that was blown out. But that the pressure reducer valve was still intact.
So the next point of discussion was with the demolition down at the old water plant. There's a crew in there from Vandenberg, is that the name of the contractor?
Brandenburg.
Brandenburg.
Mhm.
They came in, I guess they've been in, what, 2-3 weeks now? And they have been removing the various things that have.
Water and sludge,
Yeah, water
right.
and sludge out of the tanks.
Out of those basins in the back of the old water plant, and also out of the tanks that are inside the water plant.
Okay.
There was some point of discussion on exactly what was happening and when it was happening. I won't really get into the details there, but there was some concern that it was not going according to the contract. We clarified, at least attempted to clarify with him what he saw on his end as far as managing it. Ultimately, I think the more major, or the more concerning issue was the fact that it wasn't going according to specification, and neither Zell or I were notified.
In what way?
Just some areas didn't happen. I think he thought he was handling it and just didn't see the need to bring Zell or I into the loop. So we discussed with him protocols.
Who is he?
Jason,
Okay.
because we were having that meeting with him. I'm just kind of, I'm kind of relaying all the information from that meeting during this utility report. So we were working on developing a more effective protocol for him to communicate on a regular basis with primarily Zell or me if necessary, or anyone else. We just need to, I think we were in the dark. Zell was in the dark primarily for a few days at least, at the bare
Couple
minimum.
weeks.
And likely more.
A couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so we need to, I kind of just said, even on a daily basis, if you can just drop an email and say everything's going hunky-dory, or hey, something's deviating from the norm here, and this is what you need to know.
Yeah.
We just need to have communication back and forth. He also expressed the need to have better communication coming down the chain. He pointed out, I guess, when we had power, we were without power in the village for a little bit. They weren't told kind of what was happening or when it was happening as far as when things were going to be back on. And they were not able to pump on their normal schedule, and they had to kind of make some last minute adjustments to the
So,
schedule.
okay, I didn't know that we were out of electricity either until I got over here.
Right.
So whose responsibility is that going to be?
I think what's going to happen.
Because that's kind of in regards to more with the village than it is with the
And
town.
I think we're going to need to have someone, we're going to have to see if we can develop a protocol at the front desk, or, either you need to be notified so you can pass it down, or we can just send that notification directly to Jason. I would assume,
I think probably when it went out that morning, it went out for everybody, and nobody really knew. It wasn't a planned outage.
Correct.
But front desk could,
They did not hook, did they hook up? I don't think they
No.
hooked up the phones, because I tried to call the front
No,
desk
the
and
phones
couldn't.
were out.
Initially.
Yeah, the phones and everything were out, so.
I think the real question is, yes, it went out, and yes, he would know it was out. I guess the question was, did we have any time frame as to when it might come back on? And when I called Lana, it was on a Wednesday. I guess it was a week, it was 2 weeks ago. Because we called on a Wednesday because we were trying to figure out if the power was gonna be back on in time to do
Yoga?
the yoga.
Right.
Yeah, so we were trying to sort that out. And then whenever we talked to Lana, she said, I don't know anything about anything. And we were like, and this was like maybe 20, 30 minutes before, we were like, well, we should probably just go ahead and call it that.
Right. Usually no one knows,
Right.
and only like one person knows, and they're
So, I
working
mean-
on it,
So ultimately, the only real thing we could convey in that situation would be power stop. He lives here, so he should probably know that,
Right.
I'm guessing. So
But if the power's out up here doesn't mean the power's out down there, because they're on their own.
I think ultimately the concern is if we get to a situation where we can't pump, we've only got X amount of time with all the leaks before that tank runs down and we have a boil water advisory. So,
Right.
it's a critical issue, yes, I will acknowledge it is a real concern. And we'll just have to, you know, do the best we can there as far as trying to get information from the resort and ultimately on power. That would be, these days, I think that's a TBA thing.
They're covering all the.
Yeah, Jay, I don't think Jeff works on it anymore.
So we're pretty much at their mercy as far as the wind
And whenever they come over here too.
Yeah,
They have to
exactly.
drive over.
I think, I heard on this last one, I don't know how valid this was, that Jeff could actually see what would need to have happened, but he's been instructed not to do it.
And it has to go through
Probably,
protocol.
probably, yeah.
So, other than that, there is nothing really to report on the utility side of things. I think he does have an inspection tomorrow. Is that the water or the wastewater?
Water.
So Jason will be handling that. I guess he said all the levels have been within range. Everything's been good. And nothing really notable to report as far as normal day-to-day operations on the water or with the wastewater. So anything I missed there, so?
I don't believe so. We have not received anything, you know, to do it, or if we can do it ourselves. If we go to just everybody gets elected on a 4-year term, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So
We're
he's
still-
he's going to check into that
still
to the General
researching.
Assembly and see if that's. It might have to be something that's amended by them.
Well,
And the reasoning for it is because we're so small and so few people, you know.
the point was to reduce overhead.
And then, yes, reduce overhead, and also because we don't, you know, it's hard enough to keep 5 people on board, you know, at all, let alone trying to stagger 2 1 year and 3 the next 2 years. And then we'd be having an election every 2 years, just like what we do anyway, so. So anyway, he's looking into that, so be prepared for a lawyer bill, who knows how much that'll be, but,
As long as it's in the hundreds of dollars, I think we can live with it.
yeah,
I mean, we've got it budgeted, so.
right.
And if he can help us resolve some things and move, you know, either, you know, one way or the other on some stuff, that's helpful.
All right.
All right, any questions, concerns on the financials? Any financial issues? All right, we're gonna move to the audit fraud question.
So you guys fill out those and put in an envelope and seal them up and give them back to me. That's, it's just for the audit.
Yeah, we'll do this before we leave.
Wait, oh, don't do it now?
Well, I mean, if
You can if you want to.
I mean, you can walk and chew gum at the same time, sure. I have a hard time doing that sometimes.
I'll do it.
Let's see.
So Western Clerks Academy, it's $60. It is being held in September. I haven't gone to any training or updates. This has got a lot of notary stuff in it, things of that nature that I think would be beneficial for here. It's also got a couple other things. It's also it's at Silva, at our COG office of the Council of Government. So it wouldn't require like any overnight stay or anything. It'd just be gas and
So it's a one-day deal?
and probably, yeah, it's just a 1-day deal. It's on a Friday, so, but it's $60 enrollment fee, and then for that day. I may have, I think lunch and all that stuff's included, but with that, so.
It's a recertification?
No, it's not having anything to do with the certification, it's just training, ongoing training. I used to go to these a lot, you know, just because I didn't know anything about how government was ran, so.
Right.
You know, and it's been, gosh, it's probably been 4 years or better since I've gone to anything. And since this has been held up on this end, assuming that we will still get to have it.
What's the date?
It's like September 17th or 20th. It's on that Friday. I have to have it in by, I have to be registered by this.
What is it?
Like the Friday after the 15th of September right here?
Oh, that's a good point.
Or when?
It could be the 17th.
I think it's the 17th, and then I have to be registered like a few days prior to that.
I mean, I'm cool with it, as long as, I mean,
Found it.
it's something you wanna do. It's
Well, I
not
just
really
feel,
cost
I just
prohibitive.
feel like, you know, getting more training is
There'd
always
be,
beneficial.
mileage would be also involved for her, that'd be about it, you know, maybe,
Yeah.
you know, food if it's not covered, but I mean, you know, fairly nominal on the expense side, and I think the benefit could be more. So, I guess, if we're all in favor of that, I can entertain a motion for the approval of the closed session.
Oh, you making a motion?
You make it.
Oh.
I can't make it.
I make a motion to approve the clerk's academy.
Thanks for the motion, John. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And finally, I think, garbage truck discussion.
So our garbage truck, the emergency brake broke again. This is like the 5th time this has happened. It's overheating, not all the time, some of the time, sometimes really bad. It's on its last legs. And I was looking on gov.deals today. There was some trucks and stuff on there, but nothing close enough and nothing new enough to where I felt like it would be worth wanting to investigate. Plus, you got a bid on it, I think, anyway, and then if you win it, you go get it.
So here's the question. Do we have access to getting, government level, quotes and deals? Like, for example, like when we got the truck for recycling grant, we went through that department and we were able to basically get their pricing. Is there a mechanism where we can, we can?
I don't think you can just for like a regular truck like that, because I know you can like for police cars, I know you can like for fire engines, I know you can for recycling stuff, but as far
regular sanitation?
I don't think it would be a garbage truck then.
Sure.
So I was,
We just need a really small garbage truck.
yeah, we just need a really, really small. I have wondered too about, that big old dumpster thing that they have in behind the housekeeping down there. I don't know how much it costs and who comes and empties that, do you know?
I'm not sure.
Is it one of those roll-offs?
Yeah, the big,
Like
it's a
what we
big,
use-
it's like what we used to have out here even.
Like what you use at the,
Yes,
when
yes,
that's
but
big.
I don't know who they have it
I think
through.
it just basically, you just contract, you just have somebody bring it out. I mean, what Brandon said, those things cost probably, maybe, it cost him, let's see, I want to say to do 8 or 9 of them, I want to say it was like $4 grand.
Yeah, but that's all, I'm talking about like, the resort has to have some kind of something there because they get them all the time.
Right.
So if we got one down here and we just got like an ATV or something to pick up the garbage, if that wouldn't be a better, and then we could kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We could use, we can also use it for our roads and stuff of that nature. So we could have some extra payment on it there. We could use it for when car groups are in and everything's filled up, so that they can get around, because as it is, he's having to carry garbage from a long ways away. And we could dump it down here and then have, depending on how much it would cost to have that emptied every so often.
I think you'd be surprised at how quickly.
Well, it might be. I haven't looked into that because I didn't know who to talk to at the resort to find out, first of all, how much of a cost it is for them to have it here, and then how much it costs for them to have it done. I don't know.
Well, isn't that free at first code? Don't we just drop it?
Well, it is, but here's another thing about that though, is that I'm afraid that's going to go away eventually, because garbage has been a big point of discussion.
Water one away.
Yes, and there's always, because the animals, critters and stuff take it off over the side of the bank.
Well,
And we've had discussion about it before anyway, about doing away, they wanted to do away with it. I'm afraid sooner or later we're going to lose it.
all right, well,
So,
they'll give us notice though.
yeah, they would give us notice, but we'd still be in the same boat, like, well, what are we going to do? Because the only other place then would be to go up to the Sawyer's dumpster up there.
Right.
That's a long ways away, in the middle of July when we're packed, or during Mini Coopers or whatever.
Yeah.
So you were saying,
I'm just trying to think outside the box here,
Okay,
you were saying if you were using an ATV or a small side-by-side instead of a truck, or in addition to a
Instead of a truck, because, we needed one of those anyway. And if we got a good one that was enclosed, where it had heat in it and stuff, and so they're not freezing to death in the winter.
I don't know that those are designed to operate that much. I think we kill it.
You think we kill it too quick?
Because, it's just, it doesn't have the capacity, so you'd be going back and forth a lot. Now, having one of those to augment a truck, at events and whatnot, I think would be desirable, but I wouldn't rely on it solely. I just think it would be way too much for it.
Well, so then I'm entertaining motions on, what you would recommend, because like I said, looking on gov deals, there's a lot of trucks on there, but they were in California and Florida and, Michigan, and there was a couple in Knoxville, but they were like 2008, you know, and
Yeah, I don't think we-
What if we redistribute our funds to buy like a relatively new truck
well, I mean,
Or a new truck.
or a new one?
I mean, assuming we can find one.
Right, well, you know,
I mean, I guess my point is if we could find a way that we could purchase it at the lowest price for a governmental unit, I think we've got the money to do it. It's just, you know, I guess, you know, speccing it and then pulling the trigger, you know, much in the same way.
and we could then put the canopy back on that and probably, I mean, we could still probably get a few thousand out of it to go towards another truck. I mean, it don't have a whole lot of miles on it, it's just got a lot of idle hours on it.
Right. I mean, I think just trying to see, you know, is there someone we know that you think could say, check here? You know, like for example, buying a vehicle, say at you know, NC, you know, motor fleet pricing.
Right.
Would it be possible to kind of piggyback something with them, or I don't know how other.
I might could call Becky with Robin, you know, with
Yeah.
Graham County
How-
and see.
Where do you buy your stuff from?
Yeah.
What
That'd be good.
program do you utilize, you know, so that we can get the best deal possible?
I like that.
And I know we probably can't get it wholesale, but I'd love to be able to get it, you know, somewhere between wholesale and retail.
All right, that's what I'll
And I
do,
just
that'll be
think
my
we-
next step, then
So I
is
think
I'll
we
call
find out
Becky.
where we need to get it, how we need to get it, and then I think we start thinking, spec-wise, I think it's just, you know, probably something, what, similar to the,
Yeah, because we want the racks to fit on it,
yeah.
and, oh yeah, it would be pretty much exactly, which they told me what that was, like the wheelbase and all that, so, you know, probably be good to have a four-wheel drive.
I think for redundancy, just in case,
Mhm.
getting a four-wheel drive, getting possibly an extended cab, not a double cab necessarily, although sometimes double cab can come in handy if you need to
But not
use
for
it for
dumping
something
garbage.
else. No, but, I don't know, we can talk about the spec, I mean, if there's any reason why we could ever need a double cab, you know, typically, like if David's cruising around doing work, I guess you're probably only gonna have just maybe one other person. It's not like we're rolling around with 3, 4 people.
No,
So an extended cab, four-wheel drive.
it just gives them more room to mess it up.
Another F-150?
Probably,
But
I mean,
automatic.
yeah,
And
and
then
automatic,
maybe
yes,
like an EcoBoost D6, you know,
Yeah.
work truck.
yeah.
That'd probably be the spec we'd be looking at.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, I'll talk to her and see what she says and what she recommends. Okay?
All right, any other discussion points? Anybody can think of that we need to talk about
So we need to go into closed session.
for the town? Okay. Well, we are going to need to go into closed session, so I will need a motion to go
Make a motion to go into closed
to
session.
discuss personnel.
To discuss personnel.
Thanks, Tiffany. All in favor?
Ah,
And we're back. So entertaining a motion, John?
I make a motion to come out of closed session.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We had a productive discussion there, but no action's going to result at this time of anything we discussed. So with that, we are going to adjourn our meeting now. Our next meeting is going to be September the 15th, 2021 at 5:30.
So it's gonna be a month where we're actually gonna have a council meeting before the TDA meeting, because the first is on a Wednesday.
Okay, that's good to know. So we're going to adjourn this meeting at 6:51.